Thank you very much to my really good friend, fellow Texan colleague, and co-founder of the Sharia-Free America Caucus, Congressman Chip Roy. First of all, I've been aware of and been involved in Iran since 1979. I commanded a Special Forces detachment, 18, at that time. And while the trigger was not pulled, I was in a forward deployed battalion, and we were prepared to go in early to get the hostages should we need to. We had just come out of we had literally just the week before, I believe, come out of a shooting house in northern Germany where we had actually rehearsed a hostage rescue. I also was involved in Iran in 1984 when the 82nd Airborne Division was preparing Op Plan 1004. So I have been cognizant of and aware of Iran and planning for Iran since the late 70s, since the Ayatollah took over. Mr. Speaker, we have in the United States one Constitution, one legal system, one supreme law of the land. No foreign code, no religious legal system, no ideology that rejects our founding principles has any place here. Just this week, as you've heard, on March 3rd, 2026, Texas Republicans delivered an overwhelming message that cannot be ignored, should not be ignored. Proposition 10, which states that the state of Texas should prohibit Sharia law, passed by, get this, 95% landslide in the Republican primary. Texans are saying loud and clear, American law only. Sharia is not compatible with our Constitution, and our constituents reject any attempt to import it. This non-binding proposition is a clarion call to this Congress. Protect our sovereignty before it's too late. And tragically, just 2 days before that vote, on March the 1st, we witnessed exactly why this mandate is so urgent. In Austin, Texas, as he just outlined for you, a gunman opened fire on innocent people enjoying their night. He killed 3 young Americans. We always say their name. 19-year-old Ryder Harrington, a Texas Tech student, 21-year-old Savitha Shawn, a University of Texas student, and 30-year-old Jorge Peterson, and wounded 13 others, some critically. The suspect, as you've heard, a naturalized U.S. citizen originally from Senegal, entered the United States on a B-2 tourist visa in March of 2000, overstayed illegally, married a U.S. citizen in 2006 to adjust status to lawful permanent resident, was naturalized as a full citizen in April 2013, despite a history of both arrests before and after receiving his green card. Our broken legal system let him in, let him stay, and disturbingly made him one of us, naturalization. Investigators found him wearing a sweatshirt emblazoned with "Property of Allah," an undershirt featuring an Iranian flag design, and recovered a Quran from his vehicle. The FBI is investigating this as having a potential nexus to radical Islamic terrorism tied to U.S. actions involving Iran. These 3 young lives, full of promise, dreams, and futures, were stolen in an instant. This is not random violence. The symbols were unmistakable and intentional. Property of Allah references to Iran and a Quran at the scene. This attack was direct, bloody manifestation of the supremacist ideology that Sharia promotes, one that claims divine authority over man-made law, demands submission, and justifies violence against those who stand in its way. Islam, steeped in Sharia teachings that reject equality under the law, free speech, and constitutional governance, is not some abstract debate. It arrived here through failed vetting and immigration loopholes, took root over the years as a legal resident and citizen, and struck at the heart of Texas. The enemy is inside the gates. Wake up, America. We don't have to accept this. We don't have to watch leaders, Republican and Democrat, allow individuals from regions hostile to our values to enter on temporary visas, overstay, marry their way into permanent status, naturalize despite red flags, and then unleash terror on our streets. This horror is precisely why Proposition 10 passed with such overwhelming numbers, because Sharia ideology fosters the very extremism that turns foreign loyalties or personal grievances into mass murder on American soil. This brings us to the heart of this matter. Sharia is not merely personal religious observance. It is a comprehensive political and legal system that stands in direct conflict with everything we hold sacred. As Karl Popper warned in The Open Society and Its Enemies, unlimited tolerance must lead to the disappearance of tolerance. If we extend unlimited tolerance even to those who are intolerant, if we are not prepared to defend a tolerant society against the onslaught of the intolerant, then the tolerant will be destroyed and tolerance with them. In the name of tolerance, we must claim the right not to tolerate the intolerant. Although, I admit, we unfortunately have to tolerate the Democrats. Sharia, as a supremacist ideology that demands submission and rejects our freedoms, falls squarely into this category. It refuses to tolerate dissent, equality, or our nation's law. To preserve America's tolerance, liberty, and open society, we must firmly reject and refuse to accommodate Sharia. Unlimited tolerance for such intolerance would destroy the very foundations of our tolerant republic. Sharia includes clear, real-world practices that directly violate our Constitution, such as wife beatings, although in America, you are prohibited from breaking your wife's bones. I mean, it's disturbing that we even have to say this. Forced child marriages and child genital mutilation, death penalties for apostasy, which is leaving Islam, and blasphemy. Harsh penalties like hand amputations for theft, stonings for adultery, and public floggings, and systemic inequality. Women receive only half the inheritance of men, their courtroom testimony counting as half a man's value, and non-Muslims treated as second-class citizens. Sharia explicitly asserts supremacy over man-made law, explicitly, directly contradicting we the people and the very foundation of our Constitution. The Austin attack is a tragic, real-world illustration of what happens when elements of the supremacist ideology take hold here. We cannot afford to ignore the warning signs any longer. That is precisely why Congressman Chip Roy and I launched the Sharia-Free America Caucus. It has grown rapidly to dozens of members, now 46 strong, from across the country representing 22 states. The caucus's mission is clear. Ensure Sharia never gains a foothold in America. Protect the Constitution as the supreme law. Secure our borders against ideologies that refuse to assimilate and defend Western civilization. We will not surrender our freedoms. I urge every colleague, Republican and Democrat, who believes in American sovereignty to join us. Mr. Speaker, the American people expect us to defend the Constitution against any ideology that seeks to replace it. Let us pass legislation affirming that no court may consider Sharia or any foreign religious code. Let us strengthen vetting to keep out those who adhere to Sharia. Let us advance the Pause Act to freeze immigration until our system is secure. And let us stand with the Sharia-Free America Caucus and declare once and for all, America must be made Sharia-free.